All right, we're now in the electrical wiring phase, or the rewiring phase, I should say. Everything's all insulated. Rob actually he de-insulated everything yesterday, re-insulated. We got our plastic vapor barrier up, and we just peeled it up and tacked it up so we could rewire the outlets. There was this convolution of wiring, but wiring is wiring. Wiring is very simple. And I've found that the most complicated part of wiring is tracing back somebody else's crazy work. Because, I'll speak for New Hampshire anyways, you're allowed to work on your own wiring and plumbing in New Hampshire if you own the property. So many times you'll find rednecks that are just, patching in here and looping this back here and there, and they're using their own style, so to speak, and it's tracing it back is the biggest job. So what we did, and it's something that I've done in almost every remodeling project I've ever done, is I strip out all of the wiring in a particular area, and I just I bring it right back to the panel fresh, and I run everything fresh. So what we've done here is this is just going to be a simple switch box that's going to control 6 recessed light cans that are going to be installed in this eating area of the kitchen, and there are 1, 2, 3 outlets. You can't see the other one, it's behind the fridge. But 1 outlet, 2 outlets, 3 outlets. I'm not switching any of the outlets, are all going to be hot all the time. This whole switched outlet thing was kind of a big fad, I guess you might say. I don't know when it came in and went out of style, but to me it's always been out of style. I can't stand having you're the top outlet hot all the time and not knowing which outlet is switched on the bottom. It's just a pain. So everything's going to be hot all the time, and we're running new 12-2 right down to the basement to a junction box to the breaker panel, and we should have this all wired up today, and the cans installed, the recessed lighting cans installed. This is just the eating half, and over here is the stove and fridge, and the island over here, which is going to be removed. We'll be putting an entirely new island in. We'll take you along for the ride on that one. Going to be making all new butcher block. We're going to do a whole series on how to make butcher block countertops from trees, basically. So, or at least 8-quarter maple, and milling it down, and truing the lumber up and jointing it and gluing it up. But that's a whole separate series. We'll deal with that when the time comes, and we'll bring you back when we have something more to report. Thanks. All right, so we're now installing the recessed lighting in the eating portion of the kitchen here. It's about 8 feet wide and 14 feet long, and I tend to overbuild just about everything, and in past remodel jobs I've always overlighted the heck out of the place. I've kind of tempered myself back a little bit. I've installed 6 cans, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5-inch cans. And we're probably just going to run 65-watt incandescent bulbs, or the whatever the logical equivalent in LED is. So what's happening here is the power's coming up from the basement into this switch over here, and then the switch. Actually, let me show you the switch that I bought. It's really cool. We installed the same switch in the living room when we remodeled it. It's got a remote control, and the switch itself is a dimmer with an infrared receiver, or receiver here and transceiver here, and it's very cool. You can sit across the room and use the remote control to control the dimming, and it's worked out very well. So we're going to install that switch there, and then the power comes up from the switch into the first can. We're using a 12 gauge 2-wire, and then from there we're running 14-2, which is sufficient for lighting of this wattage. And I figured what I'd do is take you through the process of connecting one of these cans. These cans they're really easier every single time I go to buy them to connect. The last time they had some kind of difficult, bizarre connections. I popped the top off of this here. If you want to come around and take a picture of this. It's just this little plate here. It's retained by like a little spring. Oh my gosh, there we go. Okay, so pops off just like this. And inside, of course, you have the instruction manual, which is very important. No, really, you should read all the instructions. And then they have these cool little connectors here. So we've got the hot, the neutral, and the ground, hot, neutral, ground. And then on the back side of this connector here, there are 3 additional ports. So you can piggyback your next light can using your wire here. So what we'll do is, this wire's springing around like crazy. Everyone's got their own little style. Some people like to use the stripping tool. I just use a utility knife. I run one longitudinally right down the wire, hold it back like this, open it up, take the paper sheet, bring it back here. It's actually a tear strip. It allows you to pull and rip the sheathing right off of the wire. And then, just to make things a little simpler, I use just a little stripping tool here. I strip about 1 centimeter off of both the neutral and the hot, just like that. Not much of a tool belt guy. I wish I was, because I always lose tools. Can't find them. I spend half the time in any project looking for tools. So you can see the the ground here. Plug the ground into the ground port. It just presses in, and it stays seated. It's really cool. Take the neutral here, find the white wire, which is the neutral, press it into the other port. Find the hot, press it in. Of course, my breaker is off to this circuit down in the basement at the panel, so there's no electricity whatsoever running through this. Even if there were power running to this, the switch where the switch will go will interrupt that. They're not connected, so there's no fear of any sort of electrocution. Now, to finish off the job here, we just pop open this little port here, and the wire slides in. Oops, I'm going to use that's fine. The wire just slides in just like that, and then we're going to staple this to the wall, and we'll move on. We'll jump. We've got some holes running through the joists here. We'll run through the next one. The next one will be done. So I hope you enjoyed this segment. Thanks. All right, we got everything wired up. Let's see if it works. I've got my little remote control, and the switch is hooked up. We've just temporarily hooked things up before we put the drywall in so we can get some light. Let's see if it works. Hey, look at that. We have light. Little guy found his hammer. What is that, bud? Well, it was a very simple circuit, but everything worked the first time around, so that's cool. I guess the next phase is we'll sheetrock.